Higgins requesting a trade. Amon-Ra St. Brown getting his bag. A monster $120 million deal with $77 million guaranteed, which is a big problem in the negotiations with Brandon Aiyuk, T. Higgins. And you got to wonder, at what point does Brandon Aiyuk potentially throw his name into the requesting a trade game? So we're going to break down all that and more. T. Higgins, Amon-Ra, Brandon Aiyuk, Zeke Elliott being talked about heading back to Dallas, probably because they're going to maybe target Jonathan Brooks, and they need another running back that knows the system to kind of weather the storm for about a month. I'm not saying it's a good move or that Zeke does much, but it could indicate that they're looking at the injured, still healing, best, most talented running back in Jonathan Brooks. The Fantasy Football Show, 8 p.m. edition, Monday through Friday. One day away, 24 hours away, almost exactly, to the NFL Draft 2024. That show, it begins now, pal.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Here we are to discuss more Amon-Ra St. Brown, $120 million, $77 million guaranteed deal. We're 24 hours away from the 2024 NFL Draft. We don't know what's going to happen. 4 quarterbacks could go 1, 2, 3, 4. Cardinals have the number 4 overall pick. Does the draft begin at number 4? Do the Cardinals trade out and extend the draft until pick number 5? At which point I feel about 60 to 70% confident based on what I'm hearing, based on the reports that I trust the most, and kind of combining them all together. I'm about 60, maybe even 70% sure that the Chargers are not drafting a wide receiver at number 5 overall. Meaning they're either trading out or they're taking an offensive lineman. And they could trade out to get offensive linemen later. Minnesota Vikings, one option. This is going to be crazy. I don't even know. We could see no trade made in the top 5 of this NFL draft, or we could see 1 or 2 of them. And I think the Cardinals will not trade until they're on the clock. I think the Chargers are more apt to maybe trade beforehand. I don't know. But the Giants are looking maybe to move up, we're hearing. The New England Patriots are toying around with the idea of trading. They're listening to offers. Reports are they're laughing at the incoming offers, or they have. Do the Raiders get ultra aggressive and try and get up into this pick? I'm hearing the Colts. A lot of smoke, too. The Colts trying to get up at 3 to maybe get Marvin Harrison Jr. Smoke is out. Smoke is all around, swarming like a shark. It's going to get really interesting over the next 24 hours. Wouldn't be shocked if I'm here tonight breaking news. I wouldn't be shocked if leading into tomorrow's live stream, where your boy is literally live during the entirety of the NFL Draft Round 1 on Thursday tomorrow. I'm live an hour before leading in. I'm live the entire time. We're probably live a good hour after. So it'll be a very, very nice long stream tomorrow. And then leading up to it, I'll be live on and off. I'll probably do 1 or 2 minimum live streams during the earlier afternoon, maybe morning and early afternoon tomorrow. And then we'll have the final, the 8 p.m. show essentially start an hour early. So at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. my time. Usually we started at 5. We'll be live at 7 p.m. Eastern through the entirety of the draft. This is the draft party. There's no better place to be. This is where you need to be. There's nobody going to break it down like us. No one's going to have open phone lines like us. No one's going to have the predictions and the reactions that we do. No one's going to be sending teams on laps like we are. And speaking of 2 teams that need to go on a big fat lap right now, 2 teams that are getting possibly both F scores, or at least a D for the Niners and an F for the Cowboys. The Cowboys and Niners are crapping the bed during this offseason. There have not been 2 teams that I feel have handled the offseason worse than the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. These two teams have been embarrassing in terms of how they've handled their situations, how Dallas didn't even pick up the phone and call Derrick Henry. They didn't call his mom as she stirred a pot of meatloaf stew in the middle of the kitchen with the red rotary phone waiting for a phone call, and nobody even called her. Nobody, not one text message, not one Snapchat, not one tweeter, nothing. Not one time did the Dallas Cowboys reach out. Jerry doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know if Jerry's even present right now in his mind. I don't know if he's even capable of making good decisions. He's not extending Dak Prescott. Very, very clearly not extending Dak Prescott or McCarthy, sending a very clear message. This is weeks ago. Now he's very clearly considering all options right now. This guy's all over the place. He's promised not to extend players before and extended him that very offseason. Would not shock me if the Parsons fifth-year option, which was picked up, and I did have that to put on screen, but I can't find it now. I got to go clip it now. It wouldn't surprise me if this move, which frees up a little bit of money, is to try and kickstart more Dak Prescott conversation, and Dak Prescott gets extended, which in turn will open up and free up money so that the Cowboys could then maybe offer Dak Prescott an extension. Bringing in Zeke Elliott makes very little sense in terms of production, but it does make you say to yourself, okay, well, this is gonna maybe have them inching toward the idea of they need to bring in a Jonathan Brooks. Now, here's the concern though for Dallas. Has Dallas done a single thing? I'll also say the Chargers are one of the worst off seasons so far. By Harbaugh, this magical Harbaugh is coming into this cleanup stuff, and here he is. He gives away Keenan Allen for a ham sandwich. Here he goes, doesn't sign Henry, Jacobs, or Barkley, and they bring in two all ACL team, one Achilles injury recovering players, and they're both Baltimore Ravens. It's like he's going to his brother's team. Give me your coaches, give me your players. It's all in house. It's all family. It's all in the family. This isn't about names. It's about bodies. It's about who can deploy what I want to do. And I'm not saying it won't work necessarily, but if anybody's disappointed so far, imagine what you could be on draft day tomorrow when you expect at number 5 the Chargers to strongly consider at least taking Malik Neighbors at this 5 pick. Strongly consider Marvin Harrison Jr. For some reason the Cardinals trade out of the 4 and give it to a QB needy team like the Minnesota Vikings. And then all of a sudden the draft starts at 5, but does it? Because they could take an offensive lineman. And you or I would take Marvin Harrison Jr. You or I would take Malik Neighbors, but you or I are not in charge of the Chargers. Harbaugh's doing his own thing. And not one thing he has done has impressed me so far. And I'm not saying it won't all come together and work. The alphabetical order, assigned seating in the locker room like we're 5 years old. I mean, it's from top to bottom. This has been a minimum, a C- grade for Harbaugh and his staff and everything they're doing in LAC. At minimum, at maximum, I mean, a C-. I might even give them a D. The Chargers, the Cowboys, and the Niners. It's been embarrassing. It's been quite embarrassing. Niners, embarrassing because you watch the Eagles take care of business. And the Eagles do it early. The Eagles get Devontae Smith signed before the draft. Smart. They bring in Barkley. Smart. The Eagles get an A+. And that's not bias at all. I crapped all over what the Eagles put on the field last year, the product they had. I don't even love Sirianni. I love Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, Barkley, Devontae Smith extension. This is an A+ offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles. 100% Smitty approved. I give a F- to the San Francisco 49ers.
You've just been Smitty disappointed.
I give an F, a flat F, to the Dallas Cowboys.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
And I might be giving an F to my Arizona Cardinals if they botch number 4 overall. If Monty Ossenfort gets that draft day I've been watching Kevin Costner too much. Excited feeling. And on the clock, this guy gives away the number 4 overall pick and neglects to go after Rome Odunze or Neighbors. I will be giving the Cardinals an F- as well. This is not a biased Smitty. This is a very, very, very unbiased Smitty. I adjust and adapt, and I give you my 100% honest opinion. And I can bring it every single time to the show. I'm not biased. I might have some tendencies to beat a dead horse, but it's because I truly believe in what I'm saying. That's why you hear it come out of my mouth over and over and over. But this contract right here is a problem. So much so, and I'm talking about St. Brown's 4-year deal. $120 million, $77 million guaranteed. That's $30 million a year. That was what JJ was rejecting last year. Yeah, the last we heard on JJ, on the JJ front, contract-wise, before recently, when we've been hearing some chatter, is that the last offer he rejected was presented in 2023, and it was 130, or it was 30 mil a year. We don't know what the guaranteed money was, but it was 30 mil a year. This pretty much all but assures he's going sky high above 30 mil a year. Now, maybe it's only 32. Maybe it comes down to the guaranteed money, but 77 million guaranteed to Amon-Ra St. Brown means that you're giving at least 80, 85, maybe 90, could be even 100 mil guaranteed to JJ Justin Jefferson, who's the number 1 wide receiver in the National Football League. He does not get Amon-Ra St. Brown money. We love Amon-Ra St. Brown here. We love him. This is not a knock on Amon-Ra.
Legend has it if you say St. Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
No. This is not a knock on Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is merely saying that if he gets 77 million, 120, 30 mil a year, JJ gets 32 mil a year, 140 or 150, and at least, 90 mil guaranteed minimum, because that's JJ. And Lamb's going to get something in between because he's better than St. Brown on paper. We could argue that St. Brown might think differently, and we might, in some light, see St. Brown as kind of a sneaky equal to Lamb. But Lamb is going to get more. Lamb's in between JJ and Amon-Ra St. Brown. If Lamb gets his contract and it's above this, and I don't know what Jerry's thinking. Jerry could go, you don't know Jerry. You have no idea what Jerry's thinking. Nobody can predict what Jerry's doing. Jerry could be sitting here right now going, oh, this might get out of hand. Get me my checkbook. Let's mirror this deal so it doesn't go up. Okay, here it is. Go hand CeeDee Lamb this check. Or it could be, I'm not doing any spending at all. And he could go that route, which is the route he's been on. But now he's talking about, as he said in a press conference yesterday, do you think, who in the world would think I'm not working on a deal? It's like maybe all of us, Jerry, because you said you're focused on this year and the extension talk you don't need to worry about. You're going to handle this year and you'll deal with next year. Maybe that's why we think it, Jerry. Coble dropping a massive, underrated super chat right in the middle of a rant, which I totally appreciate because it shows this man has courage and guts to interrupt me and put some amazing question. I haven't even read it yet, but I know it's going to be phenomenal because Coble brings the thunder every time. He says, as a Packer fan, I relish in your hate of San Francisco. And I don't hate San Francisco at all. I love Debo. I've loved McCaffrey over the years. We love Aiyuk. I'm an ASU grad times 2, so I very much love ASU players. Jaden Daniels. Look, the ASU boys, the blood runs thick in your boy in terms of the ASU blood. I love Aiyuk. I've never hated on Aiyuk once. In fact, I told the Niner fans about Aiyuk. I went on Raj's Live, and I said, you guys need to go after Aiyuk. Who's Aiyuk? Let me show you game film. I showed the entire community game film on Aiyuk. No one in the Niner community knew who Aiyuk was. I was the one that came to Raj and said, let's go. Let's take Aiyuk. If you guys want a wide receiver, you want a guy, I got a guy. He's got go-go gadget arms. And he catches everything. I love Aiyuk. I don't, and I'm not yelling at you, Coble. I'm not a Niner hater. I am a hater, you could say, on the Kyle Shanahan and Niner offseason way. And I think that the window's closing and you're going to go ahead and play Mickey Mouse games with your offseason. Yeah, good luck winning a Super Bowl when you choke Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs. You choked the entire way. Your team tried to salvage it as you almost lost this Green Bay game, almost lost this Detroit Lion game. And then the Niners go ahead and look, it's I'm not saying that the Chiefs were beatable. They were on a mission, but this was a debacle in the playoffs. This was not a good playoff run for the Niners. The Niners were the best team in the National Football League last year. You want to hear something from a hater? That's not a hater comment. They're not. Coble, I appreciate you. I'm not mad at you. Coble, thank you for dropping the super chat. Coble to the moon. I'm not a hater on the Niners. I'm not, but it's getting ridiculous how they run. I know, man. I'm having fun. Love the rants. Don't worry, bro. You throw whatever down you feel the need to throw. Coble's messages are Smitty approved in advance.
You've just been...
Don't go make me look like a fool, Coble, on your next message. Coble's going to say something out of pocket. And I'm going to be like, we got a clip of you, Smitty, pre-approving any Coble message. And he just said this absolutely atrocious thing. Phone lines will be open in a second, so hang tight, guys. I know some of you are trying to dial in right now. Not right now. We still got a few things to talk about. Zeke Elliott, is he brought in? I don't know. If he's brought in, there's two things. I know where I was headed with this. There's two pieces of concern, 2 points of concern for me. If Zeke Elliott comes in, number one, does it mean that they don't want to draft a rookie running back? Are they trying to consume their backfield with Dowdle and Zeke Elliott and Davis? And, there's really not anything there. There's no substance at all. Or are they trying to bring somebody in to ease a rookie like Jonathan Brooks, who tore his ACL? And we've heard this kind of rumor before that they might look at Zeke and draft Jonathan Brooks. Let Jonathan Brooks get healthy for about a month. Kind of think a la Breece Hall last year. And that he needed a good month before you could really hand the keys to him. And you kind of wear down another running back, and who cares if they break. So Zeke Elliott, you know the system. Let's have Zeke maybe try and muster up some potential decent games. He did good in PPR last year, but he was awful on the ground. Definitely lost a step. But if you're wondering why they might be doing that, it might be a Jonathan Brooks preemptive measure. However, I'm concerned that if they bring in another running back at all, they might not be in the business for running back early on at least, and they take some kind of bad running back selection. They don't take Braylon Allen or Trey Benson or Jonathan Brooks. Then what? Or Jalen Wright. Then what? Then what are we doing? Then what are we doing with our life? This right here, again, is causing major problems, so much so that T. Higgins has officially requested his trade. And there was rumors he was doing that anyway, right? So now he's requested his trade. He's made it abundantly clear. And so has Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals are not taking care of business. We could say the Bengals, I don't want to say the Bengals deserve a C or a D in terms of a grade. Maybe a C plus to a B minus. I don't know. I don't think they've done anything to really earn something greater than that. I would even say C minus because there's nothing. I like the Zach Moss situation. It's kind of crafty, but I believe they should have brought in Barkley. I believe they should have brought in Jacobs. I believe they should have brought in Henry. So for that, I almost lean toward like C plus, or I'll go C plus because they brought in Moss. They've kind of not taken care of the T. Higgins thing, but I don't know that I would take care of the T. Higgins thing either, because he's on the franchise tag. He wants Devontae Smith money at the very minimum, and I don't want to pay him that, and I don't blame the Bengals for not wanting to. So that's why I almost like lean a little bit toward like I can't give them a C really. They haven't done much crazy in terms of additions, and they could have, and they didn't. But like 18, this is where they get their wide receiver, hopefully, that will replace T. Higgins. And maybe they trade T. Higgins on draft day. It's certainly possible. Trading a franchise tag wide receiver is an attractive situation because that wide receiver feels trapped. And the team that's making the offer can get them to agree to a pretty solid deal for both parties, because when you trade for a franchise tag wide receiver like T. Higgins, you're essentially saying, hey, let me get you out of this bind. I'm giving you a 3 or 4 year contract extension. Will you accept this if we make this trade? And so the deal's done behind the scenes, executed in parallel with the trade announcement. And so trading for a franchise tag wide receiver or any player is a very, very easy move as long as the draft capital makes sense. So there might be a Buffalo Bill trade on the clock. There might be a Baltimore Raven trade on the clock that involves T. Higgins going elsewhere. Or you say to yourselves, like a lot of people think, and this is very logical, and it's probably more logical than trading for T. Higgins, to be honest with you, because I don't even love T. Higgins. This is me kind of spitballing whether teams might be thinking. I'd rather have these rookie wide receivers. I'd rather have Ladd McConkey than T. Higgins. I'd rather have Ricky Parasol than T. Higgins. I sure as hell would rather have Brian Thomas Jr. over T. Higgins. And you give me Xavier Legette, a moon man.
The moon men dropping loads in outer space.
You give me Xavier Legette over T. Higgins every time, especially when you consider that he's on a free, pretty much rookie deal versus T. Higgins requiring draft capital and a big fat contract. T. Higgins getting traded is possible, but why in the hell would any team do it? Xavier Legette to the moon. Xavier Legette to the moon.
Mashed potatoes. Yeah, buddy.
You want to hear your boy Smitty spit a little rookie wide receiver fire? Listen to me and listen to me good. There are 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide receivers in that late first round territory that could potentially be not Puka Nacua good. We may never see that again, but very, very, very similar in terms of impact. Maybe the numbers aren't as evident that this player, popped like no other in the history of the league in terms of rookie wide receivers, but the impact could be as special or even greater, even with the numbers not being there. Ladd McConkey is a route running monster. His footwork, his hands, this guy is unbelievable. And if Ladd McConkey lands on any team inside the early 20s to late 20s, they're getting a gem. Xavier Legette could be the next DK Metcalf. And when I say that, I'm not necessarily even trying to limit him. He could be a much more polished DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf's not a one-trick pony, but he's certainly kind of limited and one-dimensional, maybe two-dimensional, you could say, versus a 3 or 4-dimensional player like JJ or Lamb or St. Brown. And Legette might not be St. Brown or JJ or any of those guys because he doesn't play like that, but he could be a much more polished version of DK Metcalf with a little bit of a different skill set. I love Legette, his ability to go and get a football, his ability to absolutely outmuscle anybody in his territory, the sheer dominance when this man has anyone around him reminds me so much of DK Metcalf. It's you get near him, you're not getting that football. You're not getting the football at all. The football is going right here. You throw a jump ball, 50-50 ball over to Xavier Legette, it's 100%. It's 100% zero ball. It's going to Xavier Legette. He's bumping you out of the way. You aren't getting near that. That microphone's not going near the football, as anybody's hands wouldn't go near the football. Legette's a monster. Ricky Parasol, absolute sleeping giant. And he's not big, but, he's solid. You put Malachi Corley into a KC Chief offense or anywhere else like Buffalo, he'll be an absolute yak yardage machine. The Tank Dell of this class is Malachi Corley. The DK Metcalf of the class is Xavier Legette. Brian Thomas Jr., where's he fall? I don't know. This is such a good rookie wide receiver class. Some of these teams would be out of their mind to trade not only draft capital, even if it's second rounder for T. Higgins. Draft capital plus a big fat $90 million 50 guaranteed deal to get T. Higgins. Are you out of your mind? When you can get a Ladd McConkey? When you could get a Ricky Parasol, probably in the second round, you're going to give up a second rounder for a headache, injury-prone wide receiver like T. Higgins? Some might. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm saying it's dumb if it happens. And no offense to my boy Aiyuk. I love him. Again, this is an ASU boy. I love him. I really, really do love Aiyuk. But a team would be absolutely stupid to give up anything in this first round territory for Brandon Aiyuk. And Niner fans might want to put some earmuffs on and tape those with duct tape around so you don't hear a single bit of what I'm about to say because it's going to burn your ears like no other. Ladd McConkey on a rookie deal is better than Aiyuk on a $100 million deal. Xavier Legette on a rookie deal is better than Brandon Aiyuk on a $90 or $100 million deal. And I could go on, but those guys will be available. Malachi Corley is the Debo Samuel / Tank Dell of this draft class. And I venture to say that Malachi Corley, even though I say Tank Dell, I don't mean by size. He's not that small a player. It's more about Tank Dell's surprise. The surprise. Who the hell is this? Smitty said this guy was going to go nuts, and he went nuts. He's on the Moon Man list.
The Moon Man, dropping loads in outer space. He's on a shuttle.
Where'd Corley go?
The Moon Man, dropping loads.
Oh, there he is. He's on Midseason Monsters. I'm sorry. Midseason Monsters. Kind of should be on the damn Moon Man list, but Malachi Corley, Midseason Monster. Somebody talked about this guy. He looks like Debo, but he's kind of the Tank Dell of the class, but he's the Debo. He plays like Debo, yak yard monster. What is Debo Samuel? The best yak yard player that we've really seen in really a decade. And you can say whatever you want about that. I'm not even going to listen to you if you say that's not true, because it's like talking to a brick wall. The numbers are there. The stats are there. Your eyeballs should be working when you watch Debo Samuel catch a pass and you say, when's the last time he got tackled? You know what? I can't even recall a play where Debo catches the ball, gets taken down by one or even two players. He gets ushered out of bounds after about 15, 16 yards, and the defense is like, enough is enough. Get him out of bounds. Get him out of bounds. You usher him out of bounds. 4 or 5 guys usher him out of bounds like they're his bodyguards, or he ends up in the end zone. And on that note, let me just tell you this. This is going to hurt a Niner fan's ears, even though I don't know why, because I'm talking about another Niner, especially a Niner that's not leaving. Aiyuk could be leaving. Debo's better than Brandon Aiyuk. Oh, Smitty, but Brandon Aiyuk is one of the best route runners in the league. You can't guard him in a phone booth. And while that might be true, Bob, Aiyuk is replaceable. Debo is not. Debo's yak yards and ability to help this offense in both the run and the pass, at the line of scrimmage, downfield, across the middle, behind the line of scrimmage, making a defense say, is he going to run? Is he going to catch? Is Debo going to be involved in this play that's behind the line of scrimmage? Debo's more important than Aiyuk will ever be to this team. And you can replace Debo so much easier than you can replace, you can replace Aiyuk so much easier than you could ever replace Debo Samuel. It's just the facts. You can do what you want with that information. You can fight me on it all you want. The phone line will be open in a second. You can yell at me all you want. Brandon Aiyuk can be replaced. Debo cannot, unless you get Malachi Corley, maybe, because he's the next Debo Samuel. He's the yak yardage version, because Debo's the best yak yard receiver we've seen in a decade plus, maybe longer than that. Corley's the best yak yard guy in college. He's the guy you might want to get if you're going to even take away the Aiyuk situation and bring in another guy. I don't want to hear, oh, you'd have 2 Debos. He plays different than Debo. He's just a yak yard monster like Debo. Debo Samuel's more important. If I'm the Buffalo Bills and I'm trading the 28 overall, it's for Debo Samuel. The only problem is Debo's got some dead cap issues that make it difficult, but maybe you could divide that up or split how, something's going to be hit. But the Buffalo Bills, if I'm the Buffalo Bills and you say, do you want Aiyuk or do you want Debo? I say, give me Debo. Give me Debo in an offense where their run is the short pass game. Their run in Buffalo is not James Cook. You might want James Cook to be your starter in 2024 in your running back 2 spot or whatever. Not me, not this guy. This is a guy that doesn't trust the Buffalo Bill rushing attack, because the Buffalo Bills, their run is the short pass game. That is their version of running the ball. Also, Josh Allen running the ball. And so you put Debo Samuel in there to assist Josh Allen in that type of run attack, which is short passes. Debo takes this team to a Super Bowl win within 1 to 2 years. I already believe the Buffalo Bills will be aggressive in replacing Stephon Diggs, and people judging the wide receiver room in Buffalo prematurely are going to look like fools by the end of it all. If they bring in Legette or McConkey, I love it. I love it. McConkey or Legette on a rookie deal is so much better than an aging Diggs. So much better than Diggs. and people are making fun of that, oh, Josh Allen's going to fall apart. Do people that think Josh Allen's going to fall apart? Understand that Diggs did nothing the entirety of the second half of the season and Josh Allen was literally QB1? Does anybody understand that Josh Allen was like QB1 the second half of the year in the top 1 to 3 all year long and he didn't have Diggs doing anything? Diggs wasn't doing anything for Josh Allen's numbers anyway, and Josh was killing it. And he brought this team on his back, put him on his shoulders, and took him into the playoffs when everyone said they weren't making nothing. We got Juicebox dropping an absolute wad on screen here. What is Aiyuk's value on the Bills? Top 7? I would say definitely 7 to 10. Hard to put him in the top 5. There are a lot of amazing wide receivers. I think 7 to 10 is safe. 7 to 10 is very, very safe. Thank you for the super chat, Juicebox. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chats. Coble dropping 2 wads at the beginning. Coble to the moon. And so that's really the news. We have Parsons' 5th-year option picked up. Gives Dallas a little bit of money to wiggle with right now, but what do they do with it? Is Jerry Jones off his rocker? Is Jerry Jones full of crap? And he's going to extend Dak Prescott very soon. Does Aiyuk request a trade before the NFL draft tomorrow? He's got 24 hours. If anything's going to drop, it's going to be tonight. The Niners are dropping the ball like they always do in the beginning of the offseason. This is the worst organization in football from the end of the year until the draft. And then they draft well because they had Adam Peters living there. And now Adam Peters is in Washington. So we'll see how they draft now. All the amazing draft picks Adam Peters brought to the table. Purdy, Kittle, everybody is because of Adam Peters in those later picks especially. And without Adam Peters, who's now the GM in Washington, who's doing amazing things, he's going to bring in JD5 because I believe he knows talent. JD5, this whole rumor about him not wanting to play in Washington is totally overblown. I think maybe he's a little turned off potentially based on the situation, but he's a grown man and he'll get over it. He's not going to cry about it like Caleb. He's going to move on and take the Washington Commanders on a path that is going to take them into a winning direction and a total change and transformation similar to the Houston Texans, the Detroit Lions, Cincinnati Bengals, et cetera, et cetera. Washington's on the up and up. You got talent all around. This is a great place for JD5 to go play football. That's what we got right now. Did the Dallas Cowboys, is what I was trying to say, did the Dallas Cowboys make some kind of aggressive move or not? We'll have to see. Aggressive move meaning, they either make some sort of trade or something. I don't think they will, but more so than anything, they've got to retain what they've got. And it all kind of starts with a Dak reconstruction to make more money available for a Lamb or Parsons type of situation. Seems like we don't know what they're doing. We can't tell. And the Niners could extend Aiyuk, but is Aiyuk really going to sign a deal right now? Is Aiyuk really going to be prone to inking a deal after watching St. Brown get his bag? Why in the hell would Aiyuk sign anything at this point? Because there's no way the Niners are going to offer him what St. Brown got. And whether you and I, and we agree, whether you and I disagree or agree that he deserves St. Brown money, and he does not deserve St. Brown money, Brandon Aiyuk. He's not that player. He's right below him. He's Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith, I believe I'd rather have than Aiyuk, but they're very close. But those are the same player. Those are the same contracts. And I don't know that Aiyuk's going to view himself as a Devontae Smith contract. If he does, then there's hope that the Niners and Aiyuk come together and ink a deal. But it'll be very interesting to see if Aiyuk and his camp before midnight tonight initiate some sort of trade request. And there was video footage of Brandon Aiyuk right after. Let me see if I can put it up on Aiyuk's Brandon Aiyuk's stories. This is Brandon Aiyuk right after St. Brown. So he's in, like, some say he's in his underwear, or I don't know what he is. This is right after St. Brown signed his deal. So Brandon Aiyuk put this on his Instagram stories. Now, first of all, if Kyler was doing this, Niner fans would be down my throat going, what's Kyler doing? He's crazy. But what is Aiyuk doing? It looks like he is in some sort of boxer briefs, riding one of those motorcycles with the really high handles. I mean, I don't know. You tell me what this means. And then he's back to work, which is nice. But like, what's that mean? Some people were saying, hey, Smitty, that's him celebrating because he's going to get the bag. Well, we haven't heard anything. I'm not saying that's an impossibility, but we haven't heard anything. And, it seems like he expresses his emotions on his Instagram stories as soon as something, breaks, right? And then we get judged for combing through social media accounts. Debo Samuel, who I love, and I've defended over and over and over for a lot of things. Debo gets mad at the public for overanalyzing what he does on social, but yet these players, including Debo, will use social to initiate payback and reaction so the team can hear their voice. Pick and choose what you accept, because you can't have it both ways. You can't ask us to relay messages by reacting and creating buzz and craziness based on your social media posts, and then ask us to dial it down when you want us to dial it down. You're a public figure, and this is part of your job. I'm so sick and tired of players complaining about being scrutinized in the media. This comes with the territory. You are a public figure, and you have a social media account that is very, 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 very much in the public eye as a player. It's not your private account that remains private, where you only accept really close friends that can even view your profile. Make one of those if you're overly sensitive about what people are going to overanalyze. Past that, I don't want to hear a word about it. You're in the public eye, and you created a social media account that is about you as a player. It's not private. So don't get mad when the public scrutinizes every little thing you do on your stories. It's par for the course. That's par for the course. It comes with the territory of making millions and millions of dollars from the fans that pay those bills by you buying tickets and buying your jerseys and buying all the different merch and all the everything else that you get advertised related. That comes from the fan base. The fan base has every right to scrutinize what you're doing. Being rude, DMing, and being upset, that's a whole different story. People should be respectful. But people can go at a player and be like, what are you doing? What? And somebody in the comments might say, why didn't you score a touchdown for me in my fantasy league? As long as you're not being rude, you have every right to say whatever you want. Dial into the phone line, which is presented by The Attic. TheAttic.shop, which is now the new name of Grindhouse. Grindhouse is The Attic. The Attic is Grindhouse. As I always say on this show, Finkel is Einhorn, Einhorn is Finkel. And if you want to go visit the new shop that they put together with the new apparel, all you got to do is get on over to Grindhouse's new website, which is theattic.shop.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Theattic.shop is now...
You are entering the panic.
Well, we are entering the panic chamber. The Grindhouse website, the social media, everything has changed. It's The Attic NC on Instagram. It's theattic.shop. That's how you get to their apparel. A lot of the same amazing stuff, but it's now going to have The Attic on the front of it. But Grindhouse is now The Attic, and they represent the phone line, so dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Call into the Attic. It's going to take me a minute to not fumble that. Call into the Attic phone lines. Call into the phone lines presented to you by theattic.shop. Which is basically vintage movie tees and hoodies. They're fantastic. Phone lines are open. Dial in. There's a lot of kind of, I don't want to say we're beating a dead horse with the Aiyuk and Higgins and St. Brown content, but like, look, this is what it's all about right now. It's crunch time, and these things are the most impacting to the NFL draft right now. Wide receivers, are they taken? The Attic makes more sense to me anyway, says Blackbeard. Yeah, the Grindhouse was a cool name, but it's hard to relay that the way they spelled it. So I'm very pleased with the new branding. Dial in. Appreciate you all. Phone lines are open. And for those who are still complaining about ads, deal with it. You're watching a free show. Stop complaining. Not to mention you could get YouTube Premium, which also helps support the show. Those things also come to the creators that everybody watches with those products. Like for $13 a month, you can have ad-free YouTube experience if that's what you really want. Otherwise, supporting the show should be important to you. And anybody saying I don't want the ads, I don't like ads on the show, then you're basically saying you don't want this show to be here, which is really ridiculous when you think about it. Punch that thumb up button. 264 total people watching the show right now. I believe 190 on YouTube. Hit that thumb up button. Phone lines are open. Steelers made more major moves than anybody. If they get Aiyuk, it'll be amazing, says Daniel. Yeah, they have definitely made some good moves. I think I think the Fields and Russell Wilson kind of threw a lot of people off, and I really like what they did. I really like, quarterback was their sticking point, the reason they haven't done well. They made it to the playoffs without a quarterback, and they got two of them just in case, Russ doesn't work out. And I think Russ loses the job to Fields either before week 1 or by week 4 or 5. And I think Fields is going to go on a tear. Fields is a top 10 quarterback and top 10 performances last year. He was a top 5 quarterback, or he's number 7 in top 5 quarterback finishes. He finished number 7 out of all fantasy football quarterbacks in top 5 quarterback performances. Number 7 last year in the worst situation he could be in. Calvin Krim dropping a $5 hauler. Hey, Smitty, heard a rumor that Atlanta worked out Penix and is interested in drafting him and learning behind Cousins for a couple years. I totally support that. The Jets should be doing that with Michael Penix Jr. And I think Cousins, if he's involved in the conversation, at least will be fine with it. But it's a smart move. Atlanta or the New York Jets would be brilliant. It would be brilliant to make sure you have your future quarterback, and this quarterback class is so good that it would be smart to do it. Can we get Amon-Ra $1 million? Says Flaming Impala. I don't know what Flame Impala, what you mean by that. 100 or at least 120 million. Amon-Ra's already got 120 million. What do you mean? Can we get Amon-Ra a million? What's that mean, Flame Impala? I don't know what that means. Diggs got moved when he wanted to reset the market, and the Vikings about to do the same with JJ. It's a good question, Jack, and Krim, thank you for the super chat. And it is true that there's interest in Atlanta and Penix Jr. That is definitely there's something maybe to that. I don't know if it'll happen. Jack, Diggs got moved, so you want to know if JJ could get moved. I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I don't think he'd get moved. Are you talking about on the banner, 120? Yeah, I can put an M there for you, pal, if that makes you feel better. Put an M there. There you go, buddy boy. Fields is QB1, Max says. I agree. I think he's not QB1 in fantasy, but he's the QB1 in Pittsburgh for sure. It's just a matter of time. 4-5 QBs in over under in the first round. 4.5 over. Easy over on that. Easy over. There might be 4 QBs in the top 4. Yeah, Carl, what's up? You're live. Sorry about the wait.
Hey, they're happening on inbox here, and I want to know what you think about it. So, someone is willing to send me Bo Nix because we already drafted these rookies. I didn't know what to do with this draft. Someone's sending me Bo Nix, Ricky Pearsall, and a 25 first for Jordan Love. Which side would you rather have? And this is Superflex, by the way.
That's a lot, bro. I like Jordan Love a lot. I mean, that's my boy, but this is a lot to give up. Who are your quarterbacks if you don't make this trade and you keep this Knicks side of it? Because Knicks could be like, what if Knicks goes to the Minnesota Vikings, man? I mean, I'm not saying he will. He could get screwed out of a good landing spot, and then you're like, well, I could have Jordan Love. Who are your quarterbacks?
At the moment, Josh Allen, Jordan Love, and some scrubs.
Oh, so you're getting Knicks and Parasol in 25 first. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And who are your running backs and receivers? Or your starting lineup, not your entire team. I just want to make sure you need to steal or don't need to steal.
I got the running backs you talked about. So I drafted Braylon Allen. I drafted Jonathan Brooks. I drafted Jalen.
No, who's your starting lineup?
Oh, starting lineup. You know what? I'm so sorry. I gotta get to that.
No, don't crash, bro.
All right. All right. So we got Josh Allen, Chuba Hubbard, Ramondre Stevenson, Puka, Amari Cooper, Kyle Pitts, Michael Wilson, Jaden Reed, Jordan Love. That's the starters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's honestly kind of rebuilding anyways, but I want to know, because I know Love is good. I just want to know if that's like worth it.
I'm gonna say this is me. Now some people are gonna disagree. It's kind of funny though, because so many people hated Jordan Love mid-season, and now everybody's on the train again. And I love Jordan Love. I liked him all year. He was a sleeper. He's a Superflex league winner of mine in a fresh draft though. Now you're talking about a different value. I would take the gamble on Parasol, Knicks, and the 25 first, bro. I think I would. In your situation, you don't have a team. No offense, you don't have a team that's going to win it all. And while I like Jordan Love, there's something to capitalizing on this value that I think you're getting rid of him at fair market value, and if he does take any sort of step back or something, then you're going to kick yourself later. Knicks is a very good quarterback. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to take the gamble that he falls in LV with the Raiders, or he goes to the Minnesota Vikings. But it's a gamble. It's a gamble, Part of me wonders, can you get a little more from him? Is he really wanting Jordan Love bad to where you could, figure out a way to get something? Does he have something else he can give you?
Honestly, his quarterback situation does suck. So if he was to get Jordan Love, that would be his best quarterback. That's probably why he's going after him. I'm trying to look at his team right now.
He doesn't have Fields by chance, does he? Something he could throw in that looks like nothing. That'd be amazing if he has Fields. And you could just get Fields thrown in.
He has Caleb, Nix, Hooker is his next best. He has Jonathan Brooks. I mean, that's pretty hot.
Get Jonathan Brooks thrown into this somehow. Look, just sell the fact that, say, bro, you're getting a top potential 6, just oversell it. You get a top 6-7 quarterback, maybe. I mean, look what he did last year. Shoot the stats at him from last year. You get a super flex, you're getting an elite quarterback that's only going to get better, and they just brought in Josh Jacobs, bro. You start selling the hell out of it. You think I can't do this. You're giving me nothing. No certainty in Knicks, no certainty in Parasol, no certainty at all in the 25 first. Give me Jonathan Brooks and we got a deal. And just push him on that. Give him a second rounder back. Don't give him the second rounder until he says no or whatever, and then go, I'll give you a second rounder. Give me Jonathan Brooks. You want a quarterback? It's going to cost, bro. I will push it. I'll push the limit.
Okay, now that's a great idea. Now, final question, and part of this deal, should I swap out Pearsall for Adonai Mitchell?
That's a tough one. Probably the value for AD Mitchell is probably higher, but I don't know that I like him more. But he might get a better landing spot. He might be drafted to be. But then again, he could go to a cloudy one because some of the teams that are drafting, I don't love Jacksonville. Jacksonville getting AD Mitchell seems about right. And then you watch Ricky Parasol go to Buffalo. It's damn it. So I don't know. The honest truth is I'd rather swap out and get Jonathan Brooks for Parasol if you've got to do that. Jonathan Brooks, Knicks in the 25 first is a little. I'd rather get Parasol and Jonathan Brooks in the 25 first though, and just throw a second in. And if he's playing hardball, if he's been going at you for a while for Love, I think you could squeeze out a second rounder, you add in, and then he adds in Brooks. He might not, but I would. All right, bro.
I think that was the perfect plan. Thank you, man.
All right, later, bro. Call back in if you got another one. Coble, $10 hauler. Appreciate your $10 hauler.
To the moon.
To the moon. Yeah, look, A.D. Mitchell, I like him. I don't like him as much as everybody else. Comes with a little bit of that, like, baggage. I don't know how I feel about him. I think that it depends on his landing spot. Don't think for a second that I won't be pumping him up fantasy-wise if he lands in the most ideal spot. If he goes to Buffalo, A.D. Mitchell to the moon. So A.D. Mitchell is a delicate flower in terms of his ability to progress and turn into a monster. He needs to go to a place that can feed and cultivate a monster. If he goes somewhere crowded, he's going to get pissed off. He's going to have an attitude, and I don't know what happens to him if he goes to Jacksonville. A.D. Mitchell in Jacksonville is not a good landing spot, in my opinion. I don't like him. Not there. Do I like him in Buffalo? All of a sudden, he's a big sleeper. Coble with a $10. Give me them ads, Smitty. Support Smitty draft tomorrow. Excited for your breakdown videos. Look, this show and the live show has been running ad-free for a long time. And I just because I turn ads on the live streams, everybody's getting pissed off. Not everybody. People that support the channel know. But, like, stop. Like, you were getting no ads for years, okay? And your boy Smitty was the one taking the hit for that. So we turned ads on the channel for the live streams, and YouTube's supporting live creators a little bit more for that. It's no different than any other channel you watch. So, complain about it or stop complaining about it, or get YouTube Premium for $13 a month, which also helps support the creators. But everybody complaining about a free 2-hour show every single day because there's an ad playing that takes 10 seconds to skip is just asinine. Coble, appreciate your $10 hauler. You're the man, the myth, the legend. Coble to the freaking moon. And excited for your breakdown tomorrow. What do you say? What wide receiver prospects could land at 2.1 in a non-Superflex draft? I mean, some of the guys that we think could be like 7, 8, 9 overall players in a Superflex would go around 2.1. So, like Leggett, I wouldn't be shocked if the first running back is still available because they're all kind of cloudy. Jonathan Brooks might be the best running back, but he's got an ACL recovery going on, so maybe he slips. I don't think you'll have a shot in hell at getting any of the top 3 or probably his top 4 wide receivers you probably won't sniff. But you could get the 5th one, Leggett, or whoever we deem it to be. You could get the number 1 running back, or at least the number 2, and there could be 2 good running back options depending on the landing spots. The best one could land in Dallas, or the best one could be in Houston, quietly waiting for Mixon to fall apart. And Braylon Allen's in Houston, and let's say Jonathan Brooks is in Dallas. We got two running backs on our hands. I don't think you'll get Bowers, but certainly Leggett will be in the mix. McConkey will be in the mix. You'll be able to, because of the quarterbacks, be able to get probably one of those guys, bro. So it'll be a pretty nice little pickings for you to kind of sift through. Make money, yeah. Thanks, Lights Out. Thanks, Blackbeard and Lights Out. Know what time it is, No need for explanation. Appreciate you. Make that money. No worries about the crybabies. It is weird. It's weird that it's not any of the normal everyday people. You all don't realize how many hours Smitty puts into this. A couple of ads are a very, very small price to pay. Also, get YouTube Premium. You won't regret it. Yeah, I mean, $13 a month. And the YouTube Premium comes to the creators. And sometimes, depending on maybe how much you watch the channel helps too on the YouTube Premium for me. So it's crazy that people are you give something literally ad free for years. The live streams have been pretty much ad free. The replays are when your boy Smitty's been making ad money, and I turn it on, and now it's like because you haven't had it, it's like a problem. It's just weird. Like, help support the channel. Like I don't ask for much. I don't ask for much. I ask you to be here. I ask you to be here on time. And I ask you to hit the thumb up button. That's really all I've ever asked. Justin, you're live.
Hey, what's up, Smitty? How's it going on, buddy?
What's up, my guy?
I just wanted to call in and voice my opinion on the people talking about the ads and crap.
Real quickly, because I don't want to waste a lot of time on the ads, but go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. But I've got the premium or whatever it is. I want to say it's like $3 or $5 a month. If
13.
you can't afford that for no ads, like, come on. That's ridiculous.
I think it's 13 a month, something like that.
Maybe it's something like that. But I don't get any ads when I watch a show. I have no problem.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it depends on like how you view, you know, if this is like if YouTube's become one of your streaming services in your mind, like it's either worth it or it's not. And if not, just hit the skip button. It's not a big deal. Like some people watch like Peacock, the free version, and they just wait for the ads and hit skip. Some people don't want to pay the extra for HBO Max or whatever. They'll just get the ad version, much cheaper version. Hit skip. Like it's part of watching content.
Exactly.
It's like there's nothing. What do you want me to do? Close the show down? Is that better? How about we end the live stream because Smitty's got to go get a job? How about that?
Yeah, you got to get paid, bud. You know, like these people need to understand that. If they don't understand that, then they'll watch the goddamn show.
Okay, hit me with what do you got draft related, pal?
Well, I'm a Patriots fan, and I know they're gonna totally screw this up. But I really want them to take Penix Jr.
You know, it's funny you say that because, you know, I've been taking heat.
I really want them to take Penix Jr.
I've been taking heat for my Penix Jr. ranking all offseason, bro. He's my number 2 ranked quarterback.
Right.
It's JD5 who the Washington Commanders are going to take, and then the next best quarterback in this draft class is not Caleb Williams. It's Michael Penix Jr. Right. So the New England Patriots should be taking him 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Caleb, I don't know if you guys heard the Caleb Williams stuff the other day on Le Batard, but it was pretty brutal. And someone could say it's just one guy's opinion, and it's kind of like it's a source, an unnamed source, so you don't really know. Let me put this caller. Hey, 801 caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Juicebox.
Juicebox in the house.
Smitty.
Where are you calling from, Juicebox?
Utah.
Okay, all right, hang tight. Let me finish up this with Justin, and then I'll be right back. So hang tight. Mute yourself if you could, or just limit the mouth breathing. Not that you're mouth breathing, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. Okay, let me pull up Le Batard. Dan Le Batard had this on his Instagram, and it's pretty like crazy when you read it. It's pretty brutal. This is coming from a former NFL scout, and let me just kind of show you. There's a video clip at the end, and this is the guy that's speaking about it on the Dan Le Batard show. I forget what his name is. But here's what he's reading, and he, I guess, was told this from an NFL scout. And the former NFL scout said on Caleb Williams, he scares the shit out of a lot of NFL teams, too. The book on him is he's just kind of a weird kid. One GM told me it's like if Prince played quarterback. And he says, I hated it. He would have scared the shit out of me if I was working for the team. Raw emotion is great, but Caleb's thing, it was ridiculous to me that he threw up major red flags. You just lost a game in the middle of your effing season, and it was like your 3rd loss in the Pac-12, and you went hugging on mommy and crying in mommy's arms and her lap, by the way. And it just seems really freaking weird and nuts. And I will tell you, he scares the shit out of a lot of NFL teams too. The book on him is he's kind of weird, a weird kid. One GM told me it's like a Prince played quarterback. Look, I don't know the kid from Adam. I don't know him. But to me, to me, that looked weak as shit. Really fragile. A fragile Freddy is what they're calling him. Now, I know Bears fans are going to defend him, but you know, these are all things that a lot of us have said for a long time. I just can't, there's certain things I can't envision in life. And I might be wrong on this one. Maybe fragile Freddies are going to be a new thing and they'll be able to play football. I don't know, but he's a fragile Freddy. And the fact that he cried in mama's arms, didn't just cry, but weeped, it crawled in a little ball. I just don't see how I just don't see how that guy's going to lead a bunch of grown men in the NFL that are older than you. You're coming, it's not like you're the big dog. Like, you know, think about it. If anybody can reflect back as a senior in high school, the seniors kind of ran the teams, right? If you got onto a track team and you were a junior or a sophomore even, or a soccer team and you're a junior and the seniors kind of led everything, right? No matter if they cried or whatever, you wouldn't say anything. You're like, oh, he cried at the end of the game, big deal. I'm not saying crying's bad. Like Jordan cried. Aiyuk cried at the end of the Super Bowl. It's okay to cry and do it upright and show emotion, whatever. I don't care. I'm not saying crying is necessarily a weakness. It's how you cry. It's sobbing. It's crawling into a ball. It's a different thing when you're at the top and you're a senior and you got these younger kids looking up to you and they're not going to dare question you. You're a leader no matter what by default because you're the elder. But this guy's going in as the younger person trying to command a bunch of men in a locker room that are set in their ways. A lot of them older, some of them near their 30s. They're not going to take orders from a kid that is crawling into mama's lap and weeping and sobbing and shaking after a loss. They're probably looking, where's our leader? Let's go to the locker room together. This was a tough loss. Where'd Caleb go? Oh, there he is. Yep. There, I think that's him. I don't know, I can't see him. His mom's covering his face, but he's weeping. Like, there are certain things I can't envision, and I can't envision this man leading in the NFL. I just can't. It doesn't mean he couldn't be a kicker, or something. He's supposed to lead 50-plus men.
I hear you.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And I don't understand how. I feel like Chicago Bear fans, is if they decided to take JD5, all these people saying, hey, he'll be okay. I don't care what he does with his fingernails, Smitty. Like, as long as he can throw a football, if they pass on him, a majority of those people saying that would go, phew, I just said that because I wasn't, I just wanted to support whoever they picked. Good God, I'm so glad they didn't take Caleb Williams. Unbelievable.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The kid's got talent.
Sure.
He's got a lot of talent.
Sure, Rosen had talent. And Johnny Manziel.
All right.
Johnny Manziel had talent.
You could be a little weird. Exactly. You could be a little weird, but I'm 32, okay? If I was on the same team as him, how am I going to look at him and have any kind of respect for him or look up to him as a leader when he's going and crying in his mama's lap in a ball? Like, come on. Like, grow some balls. People could say, oh, I don't care what color his fingernails are as long as he plays football. Or the most common one is from somebody on Twitter that can't stand anybody saying anything inappropriate or ever. Like, I can't stand the inappropriate police in this country. Like, oh, that's inappropriate. That hurts my feelings. Those people are the ones mostly defending who cares what he does? Does it bother you that he paints his nails? It does. Why? I don't know. Just because he's displaying the weirdness to all, and he's trying to Hollywood us, is what everybody in the NFL that has talked about it, openly. If especially a couple Bear players have come out and said, don't bring that Hollywood into the Chicago Bear locker room. Yeah, right. It's bad for the locker room atmosphere.
Yeah. I want a boat, says Caleb to the moon, Smitty. He's a freaking AI. He's a robot. No, he's not, bro. He's the last thing from a robot.
Oh my God.
He looks like the most the most fragile Freddy human being we've ever seen. This is like I don't know. He looks like Elf. When in the movie Elf, when he first hits the society for the first time, he doesn't know where he's going. He's looking around everywhere. He doesn't understand anything.
Yeah.
He's walking into his workout, looking into stands like this. When you pretend you're looking for somebody because you're so uncomfortable in your own skin, and you're walking around and you just start pretending you're looking for people. You pace that way, you pace that. Look, we saw it from a mile away. I'm not an idiot. I've been around on the earth for a long time. I could recognize that move. That's not a new move. That's an old move. That move is very apparent. You can see that written all over someone's face when they're so uncomfortable They pretend they're looking for somebody. That's what he's doing. And then you look over at Keenan Allen, who's eyeballing him, and Keenan Allen looks him up and down, and the expression on Keenan Allen's face was like, "This is the guy," And then he sees, and then Caleb pretends he doesn't see him, and then they go up and they dab it up, and Caleb's still looking around. He's like, "Where's my mom?"
I put money on the first game Caleb plays in the NFL, and he loses, and he goes and cries in his mama's lap again.
Let me also put it this way. As you mentioned, does he have talent? 1,000%. The guy is gifted. 100%. Gifted. Johnny Manziel was the best football player in college football history, potentially. Some will argue. Johnny Manziel was literally one of the best players in college football history. So don't tell me that you have talent, it means it's translating. Josh Rosen.
No, but if
Ryan Leaf.
If your ego is bigger than the stadium you're playing in, it ain't going to work.
Yeah. Hold on, Justin. Let me go over to... Is that Juicebox talking, or is that Justin talking?
No, that was me, Justin.
Okay, Juicebox, you are live, young man. You may have already talked. Sometimes I can't tell.
Thanks, Smitty. Hey, so right along your deals with Caleb Williams, so here's my concern, because I traded a bunch of picks or players to get up to the number one, the 101. So now, after hearing you for the last 2 weeks and making some good points about Caleb and his, how strong he is as a, could be as a football player or a quarterback, who do I take now for a 101, or do I trade down, or what would you do?
For the 1.1, and it's a super flex.
Yeah.
And you need a quarterback.
Superflex.
And you need a quarterback.
I just got Stroud. Laporta, and A-Shane. So
if it's me, I move down to 2. If I can, because I would be very okay with Marvin Harrison Jr. or JD5. And that means that you're preparing for, let's say Caleb goes off and backpacks, I could see, this is the kind of thing I could see Caleb doing. Like, I'm just going to take a couple years off the backpack. Like, let's say Caleb decides he wants to go backpacking in Europe. Okay. And all of a sudden does it right, right before your draft. Now, all of a sudden you have the ability, or if he gets hurt or anything like that, that if something gets switched up on you, you're still very okay with the 2 options. Don't ever push your luck and say, well, I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is going 3 and that's who I want. I'm going to trade down to 3. Well, you had 2. You're probably better off just taking him a little early and getting your guy. Who's your quarterback, you said?
I've got Stroud right now.
You got Stroud, and it's a super flex, not a 2 QB mandatory, right? There's a big difference.
Yeah, super flex.
Okay,
yep,
so let me ask you a question. Yeah. Do you like the idea of starting, let's say JD5 goes somewhere bad, I don't know. Do you like the idea of starting one of the rookie QBs kind of unsure of how they're going to do, or Marvin Harrison Jr. in your flex spot? Because the way I kind of look at it is that because it's your super flex, bro, take the best player. And I know QBs can outscore wide receivers quite often, but unless it's JD5 and it's Washington and you love the spot, I'm not drafting a quarterback over MHJ in a super flex. I don't care what anybody says to me. I'm different. And I normally I approach it different because somebody might be in dire straits at QB, and then I can curb my advice around it, going, what did you do? Let me give you this quarterback advice that I'm forcing here. Yeah, go JD5 over MHJ. But the way I build, the way I teach, the way I train to draft and cultivate Superflex leagues is to make sure you always have a top 1 to 5 quarterback. You have to. And even if it's Lamar and he's just outside, whatever, you always need that one guy. It gives you flexibility to do whatever you want. Sure, having an extra quarterback is the better way to go, but there are ways to accumulate that. Like Jordan Love last year, you could have traded for Jordan Love. And solve that problem in creative fashion. I'm very simple. Trade for Fields. My Jordan Love advice last offseason, my 2024 version of it is Justin Fields. Go get Fields for second rounders. Even if you had to give up 2 second rounders for Fields in a super flex, do it and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Are you better with Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I would do that.
What?
I would do that. What you just said.
Do it. Do it live. Give me Fields and MHJ all day.
I'm weak on receiver, so the best receiver I've got is Keenan Allen.
This is my plan then. I'd stay where you are. Look at the Justin Fields owner. Maybe ironically it's the guy that has the 2 pick, and you can work that in a much bigger deal. You don't just take Fields for that trade down, but you have Fields thrown in last second, act like it's nothing. Be like, well, I need a quarterback. Who's your This is how you trade. If someone has Fields and you're making a trade, let's say you're doing some complicated trade and it's already kind of worked out, and you see that they have Fields and you're like, shit, I'm going to get Fields to run into this. This is how you do it. You don't do it by going, give me Fields. You say, I need somebody at backup quarterback. Who do you have? Well, I have Justin Fields. He's not even starting. Oh, man. Okay, well, I just throw him in and it's done. That's how you get Justin Fields in a trade. You don't say, well, can I have Fields, please? You know what I'm saying? It's all psychology.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is how you know. Anything John says, do the opposite, because clearly John loves to disagree with everything I say. John says, do not draft Fields. Then that means draft Fields. So thank you, John, for confirming that. Sometimes I do have a little doubt, and then I see something like that. I'm like, there's my confirmation that it's the way to go.
Gotcha.
All right, what else? What else we got? Let me go over to Bruce real quick. Justin, hang tight. I'll come right back to you. Juicebox, appreciate you calling in. Hold on 1 second. The Bruce, you're live.
Hey, Smitty.
What's up?
What do you know? Question for you. Now, my one league, it's a redraft. I said it's up to you. You're the advisor. Should we go to Superflex or no?
What kind of position does this put you in?
Me, it's redraft, so it would kind of. But
okay.
We already picked. I got stuck with the 1.8.
Man. Dude, so here's the thing. When a league converts to Superflex, it's a little bit of a transition. And I can't guarantee this, but 8 times out of 10, if they're not a bunch of Superflex maniacs that have been trying to get this league converted for a while, like if they're all kind of like half new to it, half not, you're going to see it kind of be like a morphed version of a Superflex. Like you won't see quarterbacks go quite as much because it's a hard tendency to break. So at that pick, you might get a Mahomes, and then you're flying high. I'd go Superflex if you've never done one. They're fun, bro. Especially a redraft. You get a reset every year if you screwed up. I don't mind.
Now, if I do get the Mahomes way, how long should I wait for a second quarterback? You don't go back-to-back quarterbacks.
No, I mean, it depends on who's there, but my strategy remains the same. My how to dominate, I'll do another version of it. I do a version of it every offseason to get refreshed names in the mix, but how to dominate a Superflex draft is to get your top 5 quarterback, and then in the second round, revert back to normal drafting, because the amount of quarterbacks that go between your quarterback in round 1, let's say you're picking at 5 as an example. I know you're picking later, but if you're picking at 5, the amount of quarterbacks that go between that 5 pick and your second round pick are astronomical. So you end up seeing like 1 or 2 wide receivers taken and 1 or 2 running backs taken. So you're picking cream of the crop first round in a 1 QB players. You're kind of reverting back to 1 QB and turn round 2 into your round 1. You know what I'm saying? Draft your quarterback and then almost trick your mind into thinking round 2 is now round 1 and go back into round 1 mode. Find your round 1 QB player, and every round that you're in from that moment forward proceeding down, think of it that way. When you're in the 3rd round, who's a second round wide receiver running back that's there, and keep yourself ahead of the curve on that. And then in round 4 or 5, you come back and you try and get your Jordan Love or whatever. I like the idea of Justin Fields later, though, and risking the biscuit on like a Penix Jr., Justin Fields later quarterback drafting this year and clean up. Now, if an opportunity presents itself, you take it. But I love the idea of a Fields, Penix Jr. type of number 2 quarterback in your Superflex. little Joe Milton at the end of the draft too, something like that, and just have this kind of like you almost do a hero RB. We'll call it hero. I'm gonna coin this. You heard it right here, invented right this very second. Hero QB in Superflex. We're doing the hero QB in Superflex, and it involves Fields, Penix Jr., and a combination of just some nice little dart throws that I think are calculated. Hero QB Superflex. Love it. Smash.
And I have one more question.
I'm going to write that down. Yeah, go ahead, Brucey.
Do you think JJ said like he's just waiting on who his quarterback's going to be because Cousins isn't there anymore? He's going to be like, I'm going to wait to see who they get for me.
No, I don't think. I think he's waiting for the right offer. I think that if the Minnesota Vikings were to offer him the right deal, no matter what, he's taking it. It's all about money, bro. You're not going to be like, oh, you're offering me 34 million a year and $100 million guaranteed finally. The problem is JJ rejected. I almost guarantee you the deal he rejected last was right around what St. Brown just inked. So Minnesota's probably going just like San Francisco, just like every other team is botching the extensions of these wide receivers, and their values are just going sky high. Number one, what is San Francisco thinking? Not extending Aiyuk the moment the moment free agency began. Why are you not extending Aiyuk? Why? The franchise or the salary cap went up significantly. It goes up about 18 to 22% every 2 years on average. So inking Aiyuk on what was Devontae Smith's deal that he just got, you would have been able to easily get Aiyuk to accept that deal. And that deal seemed really crazy. Think of it like the housing market. I remember when I was looking for a house back like 15, 20 years ago. And I remember coming across this home in a really nice area. I drive by it all the time. And it was like 290 to 301,000, somewhere in that range. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm never in a million years spend that much. And I drive by that thing now, it's probably at least $1.2 million. And it's like the cost of everything goes up so quickly, and especially with wide receivers, it's like they're houses in a guaranteed to go up housing market. And you're going to wait in an offseason from the moment free agency started until now. You've seen Aiyuk's value go up about $10 million minimum, maybe $15 million. Guaranteed money, probably guaranteed money. His contract, you could have probably given him, I would say, Ridley's deal. Ridley got, what, $23 million a year, $50 million, I think, guaranteed, right? Isn't that Ridley's deal? Yeah. You could have got Aiyuk for a smidge over that. Even when Ridley signed it, the Niners could have got him to accept like a $58 million guarantee, maybe $24 million a year, maybe 24.5. Now you got St. Brown, who's, of course, he's twice the wide receiver that Aiyuk is, in my opinion, and in most of the opinions here, unless you have a Niner avatar or a Niner, logo for your photo right now. Your profile picture is a, Niner helmet with whatever. Then you're like, what did he just say? Brock Purdy's the number one quarterback, and Aiyuk is a top 5 wide receiver. Aiyuk might perform that way in certain situations. Like, I do like Aiyuk a lot, but St. Brown is just a different monster. And he has a different role or different offenses. You can say what you want. But there's no way in Aiyuk's mind, Aiyuk doesn't think he's worth what St. Brown just got. You and I might disagree with him. Collectively, we feel St. Brown's on a whole nother level, right? Aiyuk's not far behind him, but he's in a different tier. And he might even be at the top of that tier that's trying to climb into the St. Brown tier. And St. Brown's on a little bit lower level than Lamb, even if you like St. Brown. And Lamb's on a little bit lower level than JJ and Jamar Chase, even if you love those guys. But the bottom line is that Aiyuk is going to think he's at the table with St. Brown, not with Devontae Smith. Or he's at least going to want to be in the table in the middle. I don't think he's going to take Devontae Smith money now that he just saw a player get $30 million per year, and that player is not Jamar Chase, JJ, or Lamb. It is St. Brown, who's in that like 5 to 8 range for wide receivers. Aiyuk doesn't think he's 1 or 2 probably, but he probably thinks he's a top 5 wide receiver. And at the very least, he wants to be paid in the 5 to 8, 5 to 9, 5 to 10 range. And that's where St. Brown just probably set the market for his value of wide receiver. Lamb's going to be above that now. JJ's going to be way above that now. And Jerry Jones crapped the bed the entire offseason. And now Jerry's crapping the bed again because now Lamb just got a whole lot more expensive. And back to the Minnesota Vikings question, I don't think JJ's waiting for anything other than the bag. But JJ's certainly not going to accept $30 million, $77 million guaranteed at $30 million a year because at 120 total, because that's just what St. Brown got. He needs now 31 or 32 instead of 77 million. He needs 80, 85, maybe 90 million guaranteed, and he's going to get 31, 32 million a year on a 3 or 4 year deal. The only solace a player has is that they can kind of back into a, almost like in a fashion of like, okay, no, I'm going to take a concession because I'm taking an advantage here. I'm making an advantageous move here. Instead of doing a 4 year deal like St. Brown, I'll take a little bit of a hit, like going near his contract number if you give me 3 years. Because then I'm going to go get a bigger bag and I'm going to get it really quickly. And that's sometimes, or incentives. Incentives can make a player kind of, meet in the middle a little more than they want to. But I can tell you right now, there's zero chance he's getting St. Brown's money. It's going to be higher. And I don't think Minnesota was preparing for that. The question is, do the Vikings or the Cowboys or the Niners get smart and act now or wait even longer? Because if Lamb and JJ and Chase get any one of them get an extension tonight, what are you going to do? Because Aiyuk's value goes up again in his mind. It's all about what Aiyuk wants. At this point, they were like this far apart, and you didn't know if you could get close enough to have one of them push over to the other side and meet the other player or team. Now they're like this far apart. I don't think there's any way that Aiyuk is getting a deal that satisfies him and that makes sense for the Niners in their mindset and how much they're willing to pay. Therefore, you got to see if another team is even in the cards for that now. Maybe Aiyuk just got priced out of a trade. There's that possibility as well, because now we have to find a team that's willing to pay Aiyuk's new demand. Maybe the Steelers were like, we'd pay him 25, but holy crap. If Aiyuk really thinks he's getting anywhere near St. Brown's value, we're not going to be able to pull a trade off because we're not trading for him unless he agrees to a contract behind the scenes that gets announced the moment the trade gets announced in parallel. So Aiyuk might not get traded because he's unreasonable. You know what I mean? Like everyone's saying, oh, this is going to happen. It's not guaranteed to happen. I can guarantee you the divide is bigger. But the divide's so big and Aiyuk's head might be so filled with I'm this good, I'm St. Brown good, that no team can even make a trade for him. And then he's playing on his 5th year option, and he's banking on that he has such a good year, he gets the big old bag at the end of it. But the rude awakening is the Niners could still franchise tag him if they wanted. So we'll see.
Yeah. That's going to be the same thing then with T. Higgins, the Aiyuk situation.
Yeah.
Hey, Smitty, I got to run. I'll talk to you later, bud.
All right, who's this, Justin?
Thanks for having me on the show.
Is that okay, later, Justin. Juice Box, you got anything else?
Nope. You've said it all, Smitty.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Yep.
All right, later. Wouldn't it be crazy? Thank you. Bruce hung up. Bruce, appreciate you. Wouldn't it be crazy? Phone lines are open if anybody else wants to jump on if we want new blood on the phone line here. I've heard speculation that JJ might get his deal tomorrow. I think one of Dallas, Cincinnati, or Minnesota could get smart and say, this is only going to get worse. Right now, it pains us that we waited. It was stupid that we waited. But you know what? It's only going to get worse. Let's just jump in. Got to overpay now. It's our fault. We messed up. We waited. Who thought waiting was a good idea? No, nobody should have thought it was a good idea. But yeah, I do believe this is probably true, that, or more so for all three of those teams. One of them I think, get smart quickly in the other two. I don't know. It's just really stupid to wait. It's just really dumb. Aiyuk works for Applebee's now. He quit football, says Ethan. There was what he's referring to is that he went undercover in some sort of promo deal with Applebee's. But yeah. So that's all I got to say about that for now. Let me check the news and see if there's any sort of update on anything. And see if there's any potential new news brewing up. And I can throw it on screen. Zeke Elliott met with the Cowboys today about a potential return to Dallas. A reunion would, I don't know if it would be awesome. People are saying it would be great. Why would it be great? The only thing that would be great is that it means they're maybe looking at Jonathan Brooks. But it also makes me feel like maybe they think they're solving like Harbaugh solved the running back situation by bringing in like Zeke Elliott's. And Harbaugh is not drafting a wide. What have I said all along? Harbaugh is not drafting a wide receiver at 5, more likely than not, at least. More likely to not than he is likely. And this guy's building a absolute fantasy football nightmare of a situation. And anybody that thinks Herbert's going to the moon, he's such a wasted talent in LAC. I mean, good God. It's just getting insane. What other news is going on here? Michigan QB J.J. McCarthy says New York Giants is the team he has spent the most time with. It's intriguing. I do kind of see that as his potential landing spot. Marvin Harrison Jr., whether I'm the first receiver, second receiver, third receiver, it doesn't really matter to me. I just want to go to a situation that's right for me and I can perform and help the team win. I really do hope he goes to Arizona Cardinals or the Indianapolis Colts. And there are some rumors brewing, and it could be 100% smoke, that the Cowboys are thinking about trying to move up. I think one of my predictions as of now would be that the Buffalo Bills trade up for a top 3 wide receiver, or the Indianapolis Colts trade up for a top 3 wide receiver. The Buffalo Bills have a longer way to go up. The Colts have a shorter way to go up. I think the Colts very much are trying to get their, like, think about it from this way. Caitlin Clark comes into Indianapolis, right? And you got this buzz here. You got ticket sales. I think the Colts are like, we need a big name. We need something to kind of rival this. Maybe we bring indie sports back, like, you know, and get them on the map. And we got a big presence all over. Like a Marvin Harrison Jr., if the New England Patriots potentially decide they don't want to go quarterback after all, JD5's their guy, or they don't really want this pick, the Colts and the Buffalo Bills are my wild card teams to land this 3rd overall pick in a potential trade with a very vulnerable New England Patriots, or the number 4 overall. Maybe New England does go QB, and then Arizona trades out and Indy moves in, or Arizona trades out and Buffalo moves in. This would be ironic if my two teams trade and I see Buffalo get Marvin Harrison Jr. and I'll be more excited for the Bills to get Marvin Harrison Jr. than I will the Cardinals. And I've already made this point clear several times. If I could only choose one, the Cardinals to get MHJ or the Bills to get Odunze, I would choose Odunze to the Bills. But I want both of these teams to get one of the top 3 wide receivers. My dream draft for me, and I wouldn't need anything else. I wouldn't ask for another thing, is first and foremost, Josh Allen gets one of the top 3 wide receivers, preferably Odunze. I like Odunze in Buffalo more than any receiver in Buffalo. I think he fits perfectly with Josh Allen. And then my second choice, if I can only get 2 things, is the Cardinals to take Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I am selfishly wanting these for team reasons, but I think they equally are the best landing spots for both wide receivers from an objective point of view. That's not just talking from a fandom level. They are the 2 best landing spots, no question about it. I don't see any other news really popping up that is worthy of being talked about, anything we haven't covered at least. Again, trade requests from Trey Hendrickson and T. Higgins in Cincinnati. Penei Sewell got his $112 million contract extension, 4-year deal. Obviously, you guys know by now because we've talked about it on the other live stream and this live stream. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown getting his massive contract extension, which makes him an absolute monster. $77 million guaranteed. He's the highest paid receiver in the National Football League. And congrats to him. And if anybody doesn't really digest what that means, he's the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League. Is that accurate? No. He reset the market. That's what resetting the market means. He reset the market, and now the bigger dogs, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, or Lamb, Chase, JJ, are going to climb up above that number and put him in the place he kind of is fitting for, 5th, 6th, 7th highest paid wide receiver in the league. About 4, 5, 6, 7 in that territory. He reset the market, and he's kind of a ladder of sorts for the other wide receivers. They're going to climb up the ladder now. This guy's paving the way. Here, step on my back. Climb up my back. Use it as a ladder and get up to the money and bags of cash that are owed to you, Jamar Chase, that are owed to you, JJ, that are owed to you, CeeDee Lamb. And I know some people's stance is this, and I get it. I saw a couple times in the chat, hey, you really, shouldn't even condone this behavior. Teams shouldn't even be letting players hold out. You signed a contract. You should never get paid until your contract is up. I know that's an old school mentality, but the bottom line is we live in a world, and especially an NFL world, where this is par for the course and very acceptable behavior. And it is what it is. You can't not live in this world. It is what the teams and players have set up. And it's the process, bro. Like, there's just because you don't like it, it's what the teams have made very abundantly clear is the okay way of going about it. It's a very acceptable form of negotiation in the NFL, whether we like it or not. It's part of that negotiation process. They could put rules in place to where players can't hold out at all if they want to, but currently the way it is set up, players can do this, and they're kind of expected to do it. So until that changes, we can't really have this hard-nosed, like old school, get off my lawn mentality when this is the way that it is. Widely accepted. Old man Zeke back in Dallas, probably. We talked about that like 4 times already. Ethan, pay attention. I'm just kidding, Ethan. Appreciate you. Detroit is happy to pay him. Look, Detroit isn't messing around. The Eagles aren't messing around. Can we just give an A+ Smitty approved for the off seasons that both the Eagles and the Lions have put together? Class act. A+ performance. Great job. A+ goes to the Detroit Lions.
You've just been Smitty.
A+ goes to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Just been Smitty approved.
Probably the 2 most likely teams to be in the contention to win the conference, right? Because these teams are taking things seriously. They're upgrading. They're making good moves. Niners sitting on their hands. I'll give them an F. Dallas Cowboys, I'm changing it to an F.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
LA Chargers, D.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
I said D.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
Really. It's been, Pittsburgh gets at least a B+ at this point. They're attempting to bring in more players, but if they bring in, let's say, an Aiyuk or something, it's going to be an A. Right now, we'll give them a B.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Why resign contracts until they're done, Shopkey? Get off my lawn! They should just not do what everyone's currently doing and is acceptable. Why don't we just let the player hold out, get upset when the regular accepted process? Let's change it one team at a time. Who's with us? Will every other team fall? No? We'll be by ourselves? Okay. Shopkey, it's the way it is. You can't fight it because you don't like it. It's the way it is widely accepted and approved and condoned. It's condoned. Is going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit something that you should get a ticket on? Or is that a kind of widely accepted bending of the rules situation? Is spitting on the sidewalk an arrestable offense? In some states it is. Are you going to do it? Have you ever jaywalked in front of a police officer? You know, some things aren't enforced, pal. Contracts in the NFL are one of them. And it's in the team's advantage when a player's value is going up to get it done early anyway. Had the Niners extended Aiyuk in the very early offseason, the Niners would have benefited. Imagine if you had Aiyuk on a 4-year deal, $25 million a year with $54 million guaranteed. He'd be kicking himself right now. So it is advantageous for the teams to do it early in many cases. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at you, Shopkey. I'm just saying it's widely accepted, and in many cases it's a mutual advantage. The Niners are in a disadvantage right now because they crap the bed, diarrhea style, all over the place. Eagles know what they're doing. The Detroit Lions know what they're doing. Phone lines are open. Call into the Attic phone lines, brought to you by the Attic, attic.shop, formerly known as Grindhouse.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
The Attic.shop, formerly known as Grindhouse, represents this show's apparel needs. Ladies and gentlemen, do it live and do it well. Panic Chamber, we got to bring that back on the regular.
You are entering the Panic Chamber, brought to you by Grindhouse. Vintage movie tees and hoodies.
I got to redo that. Brought to you by no longer Grindhouse. It's now the Attic.
You are entering the Panic Chamber, brought to you by Grindhouse.
By the Attic. And you know, we're sitting here and let's put the Dallas Cowboys in the Panic Chamber and close it because of the way they're operating and messing up this offseason. Absolutely sharding the bed hardcore. Dallas Cowboys are going potentially into the Panic Chamber. I'm sorry for the messed up colors here. I don't know why it came out that way, but we'll put them in there. They're messing up their offseason anyway, so we'll just leave that. We'll leave that as the colors for whatever reason. Now let's put the San Francisco 49ers in here. They're messing up the offseason as well. Let's put the Los Angeles Chargers in here, and you could say that it's going to work, and that's fine. I'm not necessarily saying it's a bust, but from a fantasy perspective, and this is a fantasy show first and foremost, but we do cover news, so I'm very, very, very clear about how I'm prefacing this. But the LA Chargers are definitely not doing what we want from a fantasy perspective, so it's going to be a potential disaster in the making. These guys are in the Panic Chamber. Bottom line, let's close the doors on all three. We need to do more Panic Chamber, brought to you by now the Attic. I got to redo these graphics and such. The Attic.shop. You can find them at the Attic NC. And we'll be giving away this Spider hoodie on draft day tomorrow. So if you guys want to tune in and win this yellow Spider hoodie, it's these are all vintage movie tees. King Kong versus Godzilla. These are all old school from over 40 years ago movie posters that are put on t-shirts. Reptilicus is fantastic. I love this shirt, by the way. I have it and I wear it all the time. So Spider hoodie, Godzilla, All these, I mean, we could maybe give away the Godzilla one. That one's kind of relevant with the movie out. That was a good movie, by the way. I went and saw it. The Beast, Godzilla versus the Thing. That's a sick hoodie as well. These are all really good. The red one's really nice. But we'll be giving away at least one hoodie tomorrow on the live stream. We'll be live the entire first round all day during the draft Thursday. We'll be live on during the draft, and I'll be live on and off throughout the day talking about all this amazing stuff. 253 of you sum total in the building, 127 thumbs up, 163 of you from YouTube, 93 of you from Twitter, and appreciate every single one of you. The way to win, you'll have to have Instagram, because what we're gonna do in advance is you're gonna have to be following Grindhouse on IG. My IG is The Fantasy Football Show. But more details to come tomorrow. It'll probably be a post or something that they post, and we'll have you comment a certain word, and we'll give it away. But following Grindhouse right now wouldn't hurt to get that out of the way, and to go to Grindhouse, to follow Grindhouse. It is now called the Attic NC, North Carolina, the Attic NC. Go follow them on Instagram and get that out of the way. Let's hit any final news. Phone calls will be had for the remainder of the show. We'll be here for just a little bit longer. Appreciate you. Bengals in the panic chamber. I don't think they're messing up. They definitely did okay getting Zach Moss. They could have done better. I'm not giving them an A. I'm not giving them even a B+. Higgins, I don't blame him. I don't think Higgins deserves what he's asking for. So are they dumb for not extending him? No, it's not their number one wide receiver, bro. So I don't think they're necessarily. I don't think they're necessarily crapping the bed. Cowboys do their business in the draft, says Gregory. Well, maybe they should change that, Greg. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you shouldn't do something. That's like saying I draft receiver every draft I'm in fantasy. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you shouldn't draft wide receiver every time. Maybe you should take the best player available. Maybe the Cowboys should make the best move available. Maybe they should have brought in a cheap running back that is not all that much more expensive than a rookie running back. And your window's closing. You don't have time necessarily to wait on a Jonathan Brooks. And maybe Braylon Allen will be the guy, but you know Barkley and Derrick Henry and Jacobs can help you accomplish what you need to accomplish. So kind of amazing to me that Dallas didn't even call and pick up a phone and bring Henry in for a little visit. According to CTESPN, Zeke Elliott and the Cowboys have agreed to a 1-year deal. We'll hit the other normal sources here and see if this news. Maybe he's throwing mud at the wall on this, assuming it'll be a 1-year deal. But we'll see if that deal gets announced. But according to CTESPN, Antonio Brown, the Dallas Cowboys and Zeke Elliott have agreed to a 1-year deal to bring him back to Dallas. And part of me feels like maybe that's a stab in the dark, thinking and assuming it'll be a 1-year deal, because it's very logical that it would be a 1-year deal. Like I could announce right now, oh, I got it in my earpiece right here. It is a 1-year deal. Yeah. So now when it comes in, I'm going to look like I had it right. I love our boy Antonio Brown. He was supposed to maybe come on. He gets back to me very, very sporadically. Look like he'll ghost me for a while, and then all of a sudden I'll get 3 or 4 DMs from him. He asked me to stat check something once. He's like, hey, can you look this up for me? Antonio Brown. I can't wait if he comes on. He comes on this show, he's going to be goated. Okay? We're going to respect that man. We're going to respect him and all the differences that he brings to the table. Different approaches to news and such. CTESPN. Breaking the news. Break it. He's on it. If it isn't announced by CTESPN, I don't believe it. Not until it's stamped with a CTESPN approval. Caitlin Clark going to the Lakers, according to AB. Caitlin Clark does not belong in the NBA. That's a whole nother stupid topic. She's amazing, though. She's amazing. She's the best college prospect we've seen in some time, absolutely doing amazing things for the WNBA presence. And, people are making these crazy arguments about how she should get paid more. They need to make more. It's all about what the WNBA brings in. The NBA is having to subsidize and pay for the WNBA to exist. They don't make enough money for the players to get anything. Let's make that abundantly clear when people open their mouth about the WNBA should pay everybody more. They don't need to pay anybody more until they start bringing in revenue, which Caitlin Clark might change, and that's great. But she also wouldn't be able to hang in the NBA. Let's not get crazy. Dynasty show tonight. Maybe, Jonathan, we're going to see if we can cook something up. AB built an elaborate insider spy network within the NFL. Absolutely. She could have gotten the bag from the big three, says Thomas. Well, she got the bag from Nike, she got a bunch of sponsorship money, bro. She'll be set up for life. And she's paving the way for the WNBA. You could look at it as almost like a selfless move for her. To say, let me go to the WNBA and change it and be a part of history and get all the money in the world from these sponsorships. Like, she's getting paid millions and millions. She's probably going to make like $80 million this year, I imagine, or some total on all of her deals. So she'll be fine. Don't worry about her WNBA contract, which should not be higher than it is. Until they start making and bringing in money. Get hyped. It's almost our Christmas, folks, says DeBalt. DeBalt, appreciate you. Calvin Krim coming in with the $2 hauler. Appreciate you, Calvin. Hey, Smitty, can you review the bowl prediction list? Yeah, we can look at that. 22 hours away. Let's go, Superfish. We're almost here. We're knocking on the door of the NFL draft. DeBalt, appreciate you. All right, what do we got? Thank you, Krim, for your super chat. Let me see if I can review the bold prediction list real quick. Okay, who else is watching Draft Day tonight? Says Blackbeard. I think I'll have it playing. I think it'll tuck me in tonight. Fields MVP 2024. That is Ron Navy. Ron Navy also says Atlanta NFC champions. Fields starter by week 4, top 12 quarterback. That is from Matt O. Golf, Pittsburgh to the Super Bowl. Deckard says KC, 3rd Super Bowl in a row, back to back to back. I love that one. Ray Jeet, Tank Dell, 1,500 yards, 13 tutties. Matt O. Caleb, Rookie of the Year. I think he regrets that one. Terry Roberts, 4,500 yards and 47 touchdowns for Stroud. He initially said 25, but he amended it to 47 when we gave him a hard time because, and I feel bad doing that because, he gave us a number and we all said, it's got to be bolder than 25, Terry. And so we put it in parentheses here. DeBalt says Stroud MVP plus Super Bowl appearance. Superfish says Jonnu Smith, top 5 tight end. That's the boldest one on the board. Superfish is bold with that one. D-Town says Lions Super Bowl winner. Calvin Krim, rookie QB, wins Super Bowl. Ron Navy says Bajent, the backup quarterback in Chicago, starts more games than Caleb. And that can be due to injury or anything. Ron's not specifying, so he can win that easily if Caleb, let's say, gets hurt. George from the Bay, top 5 wide receiver for Aiyuk. Okay. Jeff, this is Tebow. Pickens. Damn, Pickens outscores London in points is what he said. And Ron Navy, Aiyuk to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That bold prediction, he's waiting to come true or not come true. And then it'll be all she wrote. Bob from Cali, you're live. What's up, Bob from Cali? What can I do for you?
What's up, Smitty? Hey, can you cover or at least talk about what do you think these teams that obviously can't compete or don't have the star players to compete with the best teams in the league? And
Can you repeat that one more time? What?
Can you discuss what some of the teams are going to do now that obviously these people are getting paid astronomically high numbers or higher numbers than what other people are getting paid? I mean, Amon-Ra, he just got paid 44% more than what Tyreek Hill just got paid, and that was in like less than 2 or 3 years. Some of these teams that are not in winning positions, like Carolina, like Jacksonville, and like other poorly performing teams, do you think that they're going to switch to a strategy like the 49ers or the Ravens, in which they go out and they get a solid QB, solid O-line, but the QB is not really like a top-tier player? They're just like good enough to compete, and they rely on the other people around them in order to get them over the hump, kind of like what SF does.
Well, I mean, there's a lot there to unpack, and I'm kind of not sure as to some of what you're asking because it seemed like all jammed together. But I'd say, like, in general, what are teams going to do about this price increase? I mean, I've kind of talked about it the whole show, but in a nutshell, it's the salary cap, as I told everyone earlier, goes up about 18 to 20% every 2 years. So this is par for the course. There's nothing unusual about what's happening right now. The only thing is this leapfrogs about every 2 years where the number 5, 6, 7 wide receiver goes to the front of the line to set that market and be like a ladder. And then CeeDee Lamb, JJ, and Chase are going to climb up the back of St. Brown because he reset the wide receiver market above those guys. Those guys are going above him. He's not going to be the number one wide receiver. Same thing happens with quarterbacks. I mean, look at Deshaun Watson's deal. When that happened several years ago, it was like, oh my God. Now Deshaun Watson's not nearly the top paid quarterback in the National Football League. And now we're breaching those 50 per year numbers. And those will soon be 100. You know, every year it goes up 20%. You will soon be in a territory that we're all just laughing at these prices now. And that's the problem for these teams, is if they think they can run away from this problem, they can't. And, you know, they're getting more of a salary cap, bump, so they can afford to go higher. So if JJ doesn't get his bag now, he's going to get it, or he won't be in a Minnesota Vikings uniform. Like, if they're unwilling to pay him, like, at all, they're like, we're not even giving him, like, because my guess is that the St. Brown deal was probably near kind of ish the exact deal that JJ turned down. If they're not willing to now up it and go, damn it, we were idiots for not giving him 31 a year and guaranteeing him not 77, maybe they're guaranteeing JJ 70 mil. And they could have got that deal if they just went up a little bit. Now they have to go sky high above this St. Brown deal. They screwed themselves. Any team trying to dance around the increase is going to get screwed. The Niners are screwing themselves by waiting. There is zero benefit to waiting to sign Brandon Aiyuk. Zero. In fact, giving him an extension saves the Niners money this year to spend on rookies. The Niners have zero excuse for this embarrassing display that's repetitive every offseason of doing the Niner way of waiting to sign a player and having the price increase. It's like going into a stock market week and saying on Friday is when we buy our stocks. Well, but you're going to buy Apple stock on Friday, right? Yeah. I've got it on almost guaranteed authority that $900, let's just say, stock is going to be $120 on Friday, and it's $900 right now. Well, it's my way to buy on Friday. Oh, okay. You wait till Friday, it's $125. Great job. Excellent offseason.
Let's go. Mashed potatoes.
Yeah, buddy. Is there a possibility that a lot of these teams that, that have the JJ, have the Jamar Chase, that they say, we're not going to pay you. We're just going to do the rebuilding option. We'll get four rookies in the draft for the price.
Of course. That's why JJ's potentially tradable. Now, Jamar Chase, no way. 0% chance they don't pay Jamar Chase. They're paying Jamar Chase, bro. They're paying him. Joe Burrow is going to demand it.
And if that is the case, and like you said, it probably is the likely case, do you think that those that don't have these players, that they're going to look at it and start doing, as I mentioned earlier, will they start building a team around positional players rather than given the whole bang. To the
It
QB.
sounds like what you're asking me is there going to be a trend of running away from this, and I'm telling you no. There will be some teams like Minnesota that if they get their quarterback, think of it this way. Why do you think Minnesota's waiting? They don't know if they're playing for the now or not, So if they land the quarterback that they want, they might immediately extend JJ and say, look, we can win this year. Let's do it now. Let's just do it. But if they can't, let's say they botched this trying to solve their quarterback problem, and then they go, now let's trade JJ. Now, trading JJ after the draft is going to be a lot harder than trading him before the draft. Let me just point that out. But they're waiting for specific reasons, I believe. But if they plan to wait it out, they're going to lose him. And the value, if you decide, let's say I'm a Minnesota Vikings decision maker and we're not going to pay him, then you have to trade him. You have to trade him because you're going to lose him. So the value now is greater than it ever will be. And you could get pieces to line up with the draft capital you have and get all these contracts lined up together. And not to mention, again, all these teams fill their wide receiver room. Even a Buffalo Bills team or a KC Chief team or a Pittsburgh Steelers team or any team for that matter is not going to be interested if they bring in a practically free Xavier Legette or Ladd McConkey, or because now they've solved their wide receiver need, and JJ, while amazing, comes with a cost that's astronomical, and we've just seen that increase. So the likelihood of trading JJ and Aiyuk actually, in a way, it gets harder because of this St. Brown deal, but it also gets harder for the teams to sign them. It's like, that's why I'm saying it's like a double nut sack kick. It's kicking your sack twice. A double. You're double stamping a triple stamp is what you're doing. Because now the team is harder for the team to sign him because they waited like idiots. And it's harder for a team to accept a trade because guess what? You trading me JJ is going to cost me a whole lot more than I thought. It's kind of like saying, hey, bro, I'll give you this Cybertruck, but you got to take on the payment. You could give it to me for free if you wanted, but I can't afford this payment. So why in the hell am I going to take the Cybertruck? It doesn't matter if your asking price changes or whatever. The cost of that, let's say the Cybertruck was going up in amount that you owe too, had some kind of balloon interest rate you couldn't get rid of. What good is it? I don't want it. It's a cool truck, sure. Maybe it is or maybe it isn't, depending on what you think about it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, JJ's value just increased. Anybody wanting to trade for JJ now has to rethink it. So to answer your question, I think you're asking if teams are going to redefine how they build their team and not have wide receivers. No. But is JJ worth it to a team? Here's an example, and the Cardinals would say no to this, but this was getting kicked around for a while. Minnesota Vikings trade JJ to the Cardinals for the 4 pick, and the Minnesota Vikings get to reset the clock on their top 5 wide receiver, and the Cardinals get to say, hey, win now mode, let's go. JJ's ready to roll. Problem is, Marvin Harrison Jr. on a rookie deal is better than JJ on a $150 million contract. So it just depends on what you're looking at. Perfect case in point is the Bengals aren't going to hesitate to give Jamar Chase an extension, but they have Joe Burrow and all the pieces together. The Minnesota Vikings, if they don't get the quarterback they want, they're going to be a little bit panicked on draft day. So does JJ get traded in the middle of the draft? There's a decent chance JJ could get traded in the middle of round 1 or in the beginning of round 1. Because if they don't get the quarterback they want, they don't make the move they want, they might pick up the phone with deals that might even be kind of in place or kicked around enough. Hey, if we want to trade JJ on draft day, you going to be around? Definitely. Okay. We don't know if that conversation's been had. Maybe JJ ends up going to some crazy landing spot. Like, I don't even know where. I mean, look, the Bengals. I'm not saying they want T. Higgins necessarily, but wouldn't that be wild if they traded T. Higgins and then traded the draft pick they got for T. Higgins in a bigger deal to get JJ? I mean, who the hell knows? I just don't know if the Bengals can afford all of those pieces because, good God, you got to give Jamar Chase an extension. If you did this, you'd have to give JJ his deal in conjunction with the trade, so Jamar Chase would have to wait. Burrow would have to reconstruct his contract. Jamar Chase would have to be taken care of next year. Jamar Chase did get his 5th-year option picked up, so you wonder if there maybe could be some movement behind the scenes where JJ could be getting moved to the Bengals, get his contract instead of Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow reconstructs his contract or whatever in the offseason next year, and they sign Jamar Chase in the next offseason. Who the hell knows? This is probably, the Bengals are probably the most hungry team to make a crazy bold move for their boy Joe Burrow and get this LSU thing going.
Do you think that there's a possibility that they not only not make a trade, but that he ends up just playing on the same contract he is now and he just walks and goes wherever he wants?
JJ?
Correct.
No. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you let him? If you're not going to win now enough to sign him, why would you not get something for him right now? If you're rebuilding, you need, you know what I mean? Like, why would that make sense, bro? Why would you let JJ walk away? You wouldn't. That would be the dumbest franchise in the history of the NFL. That'd be more stupid than the Cleveland Browns in their Deshaun Watson trade and signing. All right, Bob. Appreciate you for calling in, pal.
Yep.
All right, later. Call in anytime. I love Bob. Bob, I love you. I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but Bob is really wanting, like, the NFL to change. He was really digging for, is it possible that they all just quit? But is it possible that it goes down to 12 teams instead of 32? Is it possible that they get rid of the draft? Like, Bob just wants change. He wants it all different. He wants to put that in a blender, turn it on, and is it possible that JJ retires? Bob had a question for I love you, Bob. Bob, don't take that the wrong way. I love when you call. We're going to call you Curious Bob, I think, moving forward. Burrow looked bad before he got injured last season. Look, Prime, there's no way to dance around that, he had a struggle bus year, but he did get on track after the bye week and everything. He was moving and cranking out great numbers. And when you look at what Burrow did from that bye week on, in conjunction with what Browning did, the combined two were like a top 6 quarterback. So it's a little confusing when you look at the beginning of this year. He started off like crap. He was like a bottom 25 quarterback for like the first 4 games. But I believe in Joe Burrow. Do I believe in him enough to say he's a better value in round 7 or 6 than Mahomes in 5? No. Mahomes in 5 is the second biggest steal in fantasy football 2024. Only behind Kyren Williams in the 2nd round. Those are the 2 most winning moves in fantasy. Kyren Williams in round 2 and Mahomes in round 5, 6.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Want to win your league? Kyren in round 2. Want to win your league? Mahomes in round 5. Want to win your league? Kyren in 2 with Mahomes in 5.
Spaceman.
You know what I'm saying? All right, folks, I'll be back tonight. I'm sure there's going to be breaking news. I can smell it. There's a trade going down tonight. There's a rumor breaking tonight. There's a trade request coming tonight. There's a signing coming tonight. There's an extension coming tonight. There's no doubt about it in my mind. ESPN is going to be breaking something by midnight. I'll be back. Appreciate you all. Catch you later. Do it live. Kyren to the moon.
He's Kyren. He's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyren, he can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
He is 9 feet tall.
Scoring touchdowns.
HN is the man. Legend has it if you say St. Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every Monday through Friday. Tomorrow I'll be live an hour earlier than normal at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be live through the entire NFL draft. An hour early at least. Might even go earlier than that. An hour early at least, live through the entirety of the NFL draft with commentating and reaction to every single pick in the first round. And I'll also be live on and off leading into that. So there'll be at least 1 or 2 live streams prior to the 7 p.m. show tomorrow. And I might even be live tonight because I'm sniffing out some news. Something's happening tonight probably. So hang tight. I could be back. Appreciate you all. Thank you to my super chatters. Coble dropping 3 super chats. Appreciate you. Juicebox, Calvin Krim dropping 2. Juicebox dropping the 1. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for visiting Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty, Underdog Fantasy. Link in the description. I'll also drop the link here. We'll be drafting. We're going to do a draft probably, I don't know if we'll do one tomorrow during the stream, so make sure you sign up and get ready and drop that $10 minimum. They'll double up to $100 on your first deposit, so just hit that link in the chat. I just dropped it. It's also in the description of the video, but we'll be doing the underdog thing constantly, especially once these landing spots get landed. We're jumping straight into draft graveyard streams pretty much every other day minimum. Just drafting at night. Graveyard streams are all about drafting during the bigger part of the offseason and leading up to kickoff. So get ready. Appreciate you all. Should be back tonight. Definitely be here tomorrow several times. And on Friday, I'll be going live constantly doing 5 and 10 minute live streams back to back on every single individual player. Marvin Harrison Jr., here's what I think about his landing spot. And then what I'm going to do is, after I do that, I'll end it. See you guys in 10 minutes. Go live on Neighbors. End it. Go live on Dunze. End it. Go live on Braylon Allen. End it. Go live on Caleb. End it. Go live on JD5. And maybe do that I might do some uploads in conjunction with that. I don't know if I want to do live streams the entire time. I don't know how that's going to respond in terms of the algorithm, but we'll figure out how we're going to do it. But I'm definitely doing individual video breakdowns on each of the players, the positional players from round 1 and any that happened during round 2 that are deserving of a video. And they're going to be 8 to 12 minute shots of content. What do I think? What's my gut instinct? What's my reaction? Do they move up or down on my rankings? Doing it live. Appreciate you. Hit the like button on the way out the door. On that note, I'm out.
Get breached.